Spring is here, everything is blooming, the weather is gorgeous, or is it? The apple tree is blooming, our blueberries are blooming, our strawberries are blooming, and we're even getting little baby strawberries on here already too. Even our azaleas are blooming. Our pear tree has put on a bunch of blossoms too. And you can see I've already begun to prepare for the cold temperatures that are coming tonight. But every year it seems we always get one really good freeze even after our plants have all bloomed. Last year we only got one pear. Even with covering up our plants, it killed all our blossoms and we only had one pear because all the blossoms got zapped and fell off. So I'm hoping, since we only have one night that's going to be really cold, maybe we can protect our blossoms and still get a harvest from these plants this year. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do. I've got these globe lights that give off a good amount of heat. I'm going to string these around my trees to protect the blossoms from the cold. Don't mind all the weeds back here. I haven't worked on this bed much yet, but I have this rain barrel that was cut in half. We're going to be making this into a stand for my son for his gardening project for 4-H. But all I'm going to do is flop this over on top of these blueberries. It's a nice thick plastic. It should keep them warm enough through the night. I probably will throw a frost blanket over these trees as well, just to kind of help hold that heat in, but these kind of lights give off a lot of heat and it should make a nice little warm area for the trees to stay hidden in during the cold tonight. All of the frost tender plants I still have in pots are going to be coming back inside the house tonight. I probably will put my brassicas in the greenhouse for tonight. That will protect them enough. They probably would be fine being outside, but just in case, I'm going to put them in the greenhouse. The brassicas, you have to be careful because you don't want them to get too warm, but you also don't want them to get too cold for too long. But they can handle some pretty cold temperatures. The ones I had in the ground over the winter, they got down to 16 degrees, but I did have the greenhouses, the little jugs, over them through the winter. For the carrots and the spinach that I have growing, I'm just going to throw this tarp very lightly over them. As long as it's not terribly windy, it will be fine. If it's very windy, it won't frost. Oh my gosh, look at this pollen. Ugh, it has started already. I'm trying to hide the mic from the wind. I got this mic because it was supposed to be very good in outdoor situations and be good with the wind. It's not. If the wind even blows a little bit, it makes everything all crackly. So I need to find a mic that can actually handle being outside because it's windy a good bit here, and that kind of gets in the way of me being able to make videos sometimes with not being able to have audio if it's windy. So the delicate balance of all of this is it's in the 60s right now with the sun out. So if I cover all of these things now, it's like 3:30 in the afternoon, it might kill them because they don't like it that hot. If it gets too hot, it can also tell the plant to drop its blossoms. So it's a very delicate balance. But if I don't cover them tonight, when it drops below freezing, below 32 degrees, then that is not a good recipe for our blossoms either. So a lot of this stuff I am getting prepared now so that when the sun is going down, I can very easily come out here and cover stuff up, and it hopefully won't take me very long, and then the plants will be protected through the night. All right, I need one more of these. Started getting some of my cabbages in the ground. I haven't done a whole lot yet. I feel like I'm behind, but it's probably fine because I said I wanted to do everything about 2 weeks later this year than I did last year, because last year this time I had a lot of stuff in the ground and was having to cover a lot of stuff. So I have these, they're lemonade jugs, milk jugs. They're great for like little miniature greenhouses. The key is to make sure they don't have a cap so that they vent. So then these will just go over our plants tonight. Once the sun goes down, I'll push some mulch around it to hold it in place, and that will help hold the heat in, but then vent out if it gets too hot. I have found that if I don't have the venting on top, that my plants inside will die because they get too hot. because it's just an extreme difference during the day and the nighttime here. I just got home from work. I got everything covered up. It is super windy. I don't know if these frost blankets are gonna stay on top. We'll see what happens in the morning. I brought the chicks inside, I covered up the blueberries with the barrels. We'll see what happens. I've already uncovered some of our stuff from last night, so let's go take a look and see how stuff is doing. Inside my greenhouse trays last night actually froze. But I brought my warm weather plants out here this morning once it started warming up in the greenhouse, so they could at least get outside and get some sun. So these guys all went inside last night and then they came back out this morning. They'll go back inside again tonight because it's supposed to get down, I think 40 is the low for tonight. I'll have to check it again. I don't know what the actual temperature got to last night, but it was pretty cold, especially with that wind. These guys stayed in the greenhouse last night, and even though it's not sealed, it does keep it a little bit warmer than the outside. But that's the water that froze last night in there. It's not frozen now because it's warmed up, but these plants all look okay. What are you doing over here? You playing? Oh my goodness, look at all this pollen in there. You need some help? There you go. Where are you trying to go to? Some of these blossoms do look a little bit zapped. Part of the struggle with having to put the frost blankets on is that it can also damage blossoms as well, especially since it's really windy. It can blow that tarp around and it can rub blossoms off, or it can damage them. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens at this point. Cover on the pear tree stayed on a little bit better than the one on the apple tree. These blossoms look okay. There's some that haven't opened yet, so it could be that our first ones fall and then our next round is okay, as long as we don't get really bad temps again. So we will see what happens with our fruit trees. And same with the blueberries. It looks like some of them got zapped, but also if they got pollinated before they got zapped, they might keep the fruit. All of these cabbages and cauliflowers back here look fine. The broccoli is in full flower. That's a rutabaga right there. But all of these ones back here look fine. The lettuce looks fine. I watered the spinach and carrots last night before it got cold, because as ironic as it sounds, being watered actually helps stuff survive a freeze. I always thought that it made it worse, but I learned that it actually helps. So our carrots are here. The spinach looks fine. It doesn't look dead. Sometimes, honestly, with a freeze, it looks fine at first, and then you look at it and you find out it's not alive anymore. Oh, and I forgot, our grapes are blossoming too. The chickens have gotten out and dug up all my mulch, so I'll have to get some more mulch out here. I don't have any peas coming up yet. I gotta finish planting peas in this row. This, however, is an oh crap. What I don't understand is why my cabbages in my back garden are totally fine and look great, and these cabbages up here look like they're dead. Covers would not stay on with it being so windy last night and got blown all over. Man, I was gonna put some more in the ground today, but now I'm kind of like, I don't know. This is where I can get a little bit discouraged and feel like I still have so much to learn about the winter garden. I had cabbages and broccoli and cauliflower in the back garden that were there through the winter. They were fine down to 16 degrees. And then I have these cabbages that I put in the front that they were not fine at 30 degrees. And that confuses me. Everything in the back garden is fine. It's not harmed. Everything in the greenhouse is fine. The stuff that was in the garage is fine. But the cabbages that were in the front garden are not fine. And I don't get it. I really just don't get it. I still have a lot to learn. I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I feel like I know all of the things that I need to know, but it's always a learning experience, so I didn't have that many in the ground. It was like 6. So I still have more that I have to plant. So it's not like we're not gonna have cabbages this year or anything like that, but it is a little bit disappointing. And I wonder why the ones in the back were fine and the ones in the front weren't. I don't know. I honestly think a lot of it is that the winter garden this time of year takes a lot more babysitting than the summer garden. The summer garden's just hot and it doesn't stop being hot. And you have a very clear, safe temperature when you can start putting plants outside that you're not going to have to worry about them getting hurt. But the winter garden, it can be really hard, especially where it's warmer here in South Carolina, where we can have a day that has a 40-degree fluctuation. It can be 30 degrees overnight and then 70 degrees in the afternoon. Well, you can't keep your plants covered when it's 70 degrees. You have to uncover them or they're going to be too hot and that's going to kill them. So I think that's part of the reason why the winter garden stumps me sometimes and I struggle with it a little bit more than the summer garden. So it's still a work in progress, learning how to do all of that. But if you have any tips, share them. All right, so it's been a bit since I filmed that first part. Life's just been crazy and I haven't gotten it up yet, but I wanted to show you how the cabbages are doing, the ones that got a little bit frosted. Some of them are doing okay and I think they'll recover. Some of them just kind of shriveled up and I don't think they're coming back. But the ones that do have a little bit left, I gave them some fish emulsion this morning, so we'll see if they pop back. And then there's our new cabbages that we put in. So my rule of thumb is generally if it's going to be below 50 degrees, I bring in everything that's like tomatoes, peppers, anything that doesn't like being cold, I bring it inside. And if it's below 40, I cover my stuff that hasn't proven that it's okay to be outside during cold weather yet. So these ones I put in the ground and we had a couple more nights that were mid-30s and covered them with the milk jugs and they have been fine. So that's generally what works. Now there's always the exception. We had one day where it didn't get below freezing and there was still ice in the tray, but it was very windy that night, so I don't know if the prediction was just wrong or it was, I don't know. So, but thanks for hanging out. We've been working all day in the garden today, getting lots and lots of stuff done, and I will update you all very soon, and I will see you next time.